And that's what I want to share with you today, is the 3 secrets that can truly change all of that, because this was supposed to be our best year ever. And those of you who have joined, the Blue IQ Nation have heard me speak, especially coming into 2020. We had things set up to be such an amazing year. But now you find yourself in a situation where there's a gap. There's a gap of where you thought you were going to be versus where you were supposed to be. And we're calling that the COVID gap. And I'm here today to share with you, what can you do to close that gap? And these are the magic steps. And the speakers that are going to join me over these 2-day summits are going to give you the best of their information. They are here to serve you, to give you exactly the blueprint, the guide to rebounding back, and then we gamified it. We put a challenge to it because we are here with you. We are linking and locking arms with you to bring you back stronger than ever before. It is still possible. I'm going to show you in the data today how it is still possible to have your best year yet. And if you just implement the things that I'm going to show you and the things our speakers are going to show you, you will have your best year yet. So let me start with this story. There was a gentleman who walked into a circus, and behind the scenes, as he was getting a tour behind the scenes of the circus, he saw all of the elephants. Obviously, this was a while ago because circuses have changed, haven't they? But he saw all the elephants standing there with one single rope around their leg, staked in the ground. And the stake wasn't very big. And as he looked at the size of the elephant compared to the size of the rope and the stake, he turned to his tour guide and he said, "How in the world is that little rope keeping your elephants in place?" Well, the guide turned to him and said, "Well, it's easy, sir. When the elephants are babies, we use the same rope that we tie around their leg. And when they're that small, they actually can't break away. And you see, they become conditioned to it. Pretty soon, they believe that the rope is too strong for them to break free. And so they don't even try to break free." When I heard that story, it just resonated with me because I think about our profession. I have a very unique, again, experience in the profession than some of you. You see, I was born in Davenport, Iowa. I was born to a chiropractor. This chiropractor had 10 kids, 7 boys, 6 of us became chiropractors, right? I'm the baby of those 10 kids, and was raised on the footsteps of Palmer College, where my father was the executive vice president to David Palmer. You see, when our profession was a baby, there were several ropes tied around our feet. And back then, we didn't have the strength, we didn't have the power to break free from those ropes. But as we've grown, as we've declared our independence, you see, it was my father that flew around the country with David, who debated the AMA, debated the medical doctors constantly in their meetings to demand our credentials as doctors. It was my father that worked tirelessly with Clay Thompson to develop the Thompson table and the Thompson technique. I was so blessed to rub shoulders with those amazing gentlemen and women of our profession, that as our profession has emerged, I still believe that we think we're held back. I remember being in 3rd grade, and it was the first day of school, and our teacher was having us go around and tell quickly what our parents did for work. And as I went around, it was my turn. I said, "Hey, my dad's a doctor." Everywhere we went in town, I would hear, "Hey, Dr. Frogley, hey, Dr. Frogley." My dad was a doctor. And there was a kid in the class that spun around that fast and said, "Your dad's not a doctor, he's a chiropractor." Well, in my 3rd grade brain, that did not make sense, because why was he mocking me? Why was he calling it something other than? And I went home confused, baffled of why he said it in such a demeaning way. And I went home and I asked Mom, is Dad a real doctor? Because that's what they were saying. He's not a real doctor. He's a chiropractor. And I turned to my mom. My mom kind of giggled and said, hey, I'll let you ask your dad that when he gets home from work. Well, as Dad came home and we sat down for dinner like we did every night, I turned and asked him that question. Dad, are you a real doctor? Like, what's the difference between a chiropractor and a real doctor? I had no idea. I was raised in the paradigm of chiropractic. So obviously my dad shared, I understood, but that stuck with me. And I realized that we have a mindset that holds us back sometimes. And it really wasn't until I began working with other doctors that I saw how prevalent it was. I met Dr. Rob several years ago when I found him in the 23 years into practice and literally burnt out, ready to retire, just done with the profession. It broke my heart. And I said, Rob, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to help you with? And he said, I just want to get my practice valuable enough that I can sell it for something. And I said, okay, what if you actually found the passion and love for the work again? We taught him these 3 key principles I'm going to share with you today. And it's understanding how we impact people's lives and how our habits, our daily work habits, show up in the data. And by changing his mindset, by seeing the patterns in the data and making changes in the way he ran his team, he brought alignment to his practice and his vision with his team. Alignment, this belief that we can change people's lives by the work that we do. And when we're aligned, our patients become aligned and our finances become aligned. And in 6 short months, Dr. Rob doubled his practice. Now, he didn't have a small practice. He had a large practice. It just wasn't profitable. And so we don't get burnt out. We get broke. And that wears on us. And so I decided, if I'm going to impact the chiropractic profession, one of the greatest things I can help them do is impact more people. And if they can impact more people, that's because they're going to have more money to touch more people's lives. You see, money becomes the fuel. It becomes the engine to your purpose that literally finances your ability to impact more people. That is what we are all about. And so if we are going to make 2020 still your best year yet, I'm going to share with you these 3 secrets to getting you back on track. The first one, the power of profit formulas. You see, profit formulas is just taking data, manipulating it into a formula to really get a number, an understanding of what this represents. And so this is just an example of one of many, but this is a collection visit average. This is taking the collections, this is dividing it by the number of visits to give you the average collections. Now, this is actually slightly higher than the industry average right now. We have the industry averages, and we can see how the different practices are performing with these. If you understand all of these profit formulas, and there's lots, but you begin to look at those formulas on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis and trend. And very quickly, you start to see where I need to put my focus, because the most successful practices are doing secret number 2. They know and they automate their data. You see, patient management systems weren't designed to run businesses. They were designed to document and bill. And we need to run businesses as chiropractors. And that means we need to know and automate our numbers. You see, you got to ditch the spreadsheets. If you're still using spreadsheets, you're spending 2 to 4 hours a week of wasted time gathering data that you should be using that time to automate and implement. And that's why we automate data. This is why I've dedicated my life to building a company that automates your data for you and quickly shows you where you need to focus. And that is secret number 3, ignite the right profit formulas. Well, you have to know the data. You have to have it on a daily basis because every team member is a part of a team, and that team is to create the most amazing patient experience. And too many of us worry about the price of a treatment instead of the value we're giving of our treatment to our patients. You see, when we deliver the value, all of the profit formulas work. That is your secret to driving a profitable practice, is helping patients feel and experience the value of chiropractic, what your practice produces. And when your team is aligned with that sole purpose, and you show up every day to dedicate your life to the value that you deliver for these doctors or for these patients, oh my gosh, like money starts to flow, things start to happen. But if you want to impact more lives and you actually want to build a brand in chiropractic, that is part of why I'm so excited for you to hear from some of the speakers today. Some of the speakers today and tomorrow are brand builders. These are doctors who have mastered these 3 things. And they're going to show you how to come back stronger out of this COVID. So when you ignite the right profit formula, is it your new patient acquisition cost that needs to be ignited? Is it your new patient return rate that needs to be ignited? Is it your case value that needs to be fixed? Do we need to look at your reappointment rate? Patients are slipping out with no, yeah, I'll be back in a month. But do they really? I mean, how many times have you had a patient say, no, I don't need to schedule right now. I'll call in and schedule. And then a year later, they show up again. They're like, oh my gosh, I got so busy. I totally forgot. Shame on us for not really focusing on reappointment rate. Percent of payroll of collections. There's a fixed and variable cost to your business. Your business, right? We call it a practice, but it's a business. And if you don't know your fixed and variable costs, if you are completely relying on your bookkeeper or your CPA to send you a report, 30 days after the month? How are you supposed to, in the moment, be making better decisions, smarter decisions, IQ decisions? We look at, provider production per hour. Like that is the golden metric for a provider. Are we really watching that? What value are we delivering for the patient? And how do we become efficient? How do we master the delivery so that we drive the value? See, these are the profit formula. These are just a few. This is just a handful. But when you look at the bottom of my screen and you look at the month by month of what's happened, and then you look at the empty boxes, you see you have control over that. You have the opportunity to change, to fill those boxes in. And a lot of you are making decisions based upon how much is it going to cost me to, instead of thinking about what can I do to drive the value? Well, the data helps you know where to drive the value. And as I pull this all together now, one of the things that does not cost you a dime is to take massive action. And when you combine massive action with the right steps, it creates a new destiny. You control your destiny. You control your future. Here's how it works. We take profit formulas by looking at last year's numbers. We see patterns. We see things that you're doing that need to be fixed. And then we automate those numbers by looking at really opportunities for growth, because they show up in the data very quickly and our powerful technology sees it in minutes. So we see these opportunities that drive growth, and then we implement them. Now, this is a real practice. We took a real practice that was hit hard from COVID. Look at their January in blue. It was, they exceeded their goals. February, they crushed it. March, they started to get impacted. April and May, they got destroyed. So 34% behind last year. That's a $72,000 gap. That's their COVID gap. What is yours? Do you know? Do you know what your COVID gap is? Because if you don't, it's very hard to put the game plan together to get back. So here they had 7 months to make it up. Profit formula number 1, we implement new patient conversion rate. If we implement it by 10%, and this with their real data, with their real numbers, in 7 months, they will make up $25,000 of it. That's a third of their gap by one easy profit formula. Just get better at your exam and report of findings. 10%, that's it. We're not talking to like double 10%. Profit formula number 2, if we just increase appointments by 6 a day, now I promise you it's in your data. Those patients exist, and you just need the system in place to pull those patients back onto the schedule. Just that, we can increase it by almost $10,000 between now and the end of the year. Profit formula number 3, 5% improvement in your collection percentage of your adjusted production. Just 5%, actually getting paid for what you deliver. If we improve that by 5% in this practice's case, 1/3, or actually almost half of that gap is made up of at $28,000, almost $29,000. Those are just 3 profit formulas of dozens that exist. This is the power of profit formulas. This is the power to still have your best year ever. Blue IQ unlocks your data and helps practices grow faster. As our gift, as our COVID stimulus package, we will provide for you your exact blueprint. It's a profit breakthrough blueprint. You can go to blueiqchiro.com. That's blueiqchiro.com for a value of $199, because it takes us to sit down with you for about 30 minutes and go through your data with you. There's a complete guide that you'll get that you can go through and take advantage of that. Now, because it does take us time to put all that together, we can offer 20 of these. So the first 20 that go to blueiqchiro.com will have the opportunity to engage with us in a free profitability blueprint session.